Pelicans lose 122-113 in Denver Nuggets. They've lost 9 in a row. Joined by Chris, Connor, and Chaz. Presented you by Company Burger and DraftKings. DraftKings, official sports betting partner of Boo Crew Media and the NBA. Five also joining us as well. Pelicans have lost 9 in a row. Before we get into it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Would love to hear your thoughts on why Brandon Ingram is struggling. Maybe because he hasn't played in 2 months, or maybe he has scheduled off days, or maybe he's just not in a rhythm right now. I don't know. All I do know is that in his last 3 games since coming back from his toe contusion, in which he missed 2 months, he's 17 of 57 from the field, 2 of 15 from deep, 14 turnovers, and 17 assists. So before we got on, Chris, me and you had a really lengthy discussion today about Herb Jones and how Herb Jones this and Herb Jones that, and blame Herb, and he can't shoot and he can't do this. Well, he was the best player on the floor tonight. Had one of his better games of the season, maybe of his career. So you can't blame this one on Herb, but who you can blame this one on is CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram. And keep in mind, Chris, they had a scheduled off day on Saturday against the Bucks, in which we punted a game so that they could be ready for this game. And they went, let me look this stat up. I'm sorry for the pause. They combined to go 12 of 37 tonight. 12 of 37.
Yeah, 7 turnovers. Can't have it, man. When you're in this stretch, it's really nice to watch Herb have one of his better games. Maybe arguably his best game of the year, to be honest. I mean, on both sides of the floor, kind of, I can't take Herb played phenomenal. And that was good to see. But look, man, you're in the middle of an 8-game loser streak, now 9. You need a complete performance. You need your not just 2, but your 3 best players, Jonas Valanciunas as well, to step up. It's not enough that Trey had a really good first half, or Herb was the best Pelican tonight, and Larry gave you a good performance. Like, you're playing, the Denver Nuggets, man. They're really good for a reason. They have a 2-time, might be on his way to a 3rd MVP. This is who they are. You got to put together a complete performance, and you got to be able to take care of the basketball. More than anything, you're not going to win when your 2 best players, one barely gets over 20 points and the other one has 16. I think Brandon passed the ball well tonight, but they're going to need him to find find that offensive rhythm really soon. You got Thursday coming up, and then you got a back-to-back against Sacramento and the Lakers. It has to happen soon.
Chaz, go ahead. Or 5, whoever.
The Pels is, they going to Arizona, and it is what it is. The prophecy has been fulfilled. This was another season derail and loss. They're going to have to start flying soon and can't keep taking the train. It's getting to the point where you're kind of seeing that, that guy that people keep calling a star, they call it an all-star. And let's not forget all-star CJ McCollum. All these guys that we were bigging up during this run, and you see when they play competent teams, they just don't look as good. And I do think Willie has been increasingly bad throughout this entire season. I think he's just getting worse and worse and worse. And I think at a certain, when you have Zion, when you look, to keep it real, you got 3 top 60 players. Well, 4 top 60 players, some would say, in JV, Zion, Brandon, and CJ, right? But you win the games that maybe you're not supposed to win. Even the Lakers beat, who I don't think is a very bad team, but the Lakers beat Denver. Denver has put up some stinkers. This was a very winnable game. But when you're quote unquote star, I'm not even gonna say stars. When your guys who make the most money don't, because Brandon Ingram is not a star. Like, we gotta stop. Brandon Ingram's not a star. When your guys who make the most money don't show up consistently, these are the results, because you don't necessarily have a staff, or I can't even say you don't have enough of the surrounding parts, because you do have CJ, you do have Jonas, you do have Larry, who played a good game tonight. Herb played incredible. Kudos to him. Jose, Najee, the usual suspects showed up tonight for the most part. But your highest paid guys, time and time again, they're putting up stankers. And that makes me think that the back end of this team isn't the problem anymore. If you can't get more from your highest paid guys, those your top end talent guys, then you may need to pivot this offseason or maybe sooner. And I just did a show about that earlier today. Y'all go check it out. I'll take you chat.
Jared, I posted a tweet in which everyone's flipping out about, but since returning from his toe contusion, I simply tweeted out a stat. He's 17 of 57 from the field. He's 2 of 15 from deep, 17 assists and 14 turnovers. Should we be patient? Should we wait for him? Because I've been waiting for him for 2 months now.
I mean, it's not necessarily we've been waiting on him for 2 months. We've been waiting on him really all season. I mean, has Brandon won the Pelicans a game we weren't supposed to win this season?
He hasn't really played in any, but
and that's my thing, right? I think that's what you define a star, right? Can you win a game you're not supposed to win on the road? Not at home with the crowd with you. No, on the road when the crowd's against you, when all odds are against you, can you get a win for your team? And we haven't seen enough of Brandon, and that's okay. I mean, that's not really okay, but that's just like that's what we kind of figured, right? And I think that's why I always find it funny when people argue with Chaz, because eventually the tides really turn. I think a lot of this is really on the coaching staff, to be honest.
Explain that. I want you to dive a little bit deeper into that. Why is it more than coaching staff?
We don't run sets enough where we get this similar look, right? We don't get the same looks each night. Or have you seen where we get baskets or easy looks that Denver got, or playing a certain way where they're gonna double? Okay, so I know what to do when this happens. Like, we don't have enough to do it, and after that, can't really blame the coach because cats happen. So if you haven't, we can't really run any for you.
Yeah, I gotta mute. I'm gonna have to mute Jared because he's chopping up.
It's going.
Jared, if you wanna, I know you're like, sorry, I know you're on a little rant there. Maybe if you want to restart it, let me know. But Chris, let's get back into into what Jarrett was saying, because I mean, listen, I love Brandon. It's funny because I love Brandon. He's one of my favorite guys on this team, and people are like shocked that I'm being hard on him right now. I don't have a choice.
Look, man,
I don't have a choice.
Damn, Chris froze too. What's going on?
Yes, you want to?
You back, Chris?
Yeah. What's going on?
Oh damn, what's happening? We recording like the Pelicans.
No, y'all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Nah, man. Like, look, they lost to the best team in basketball right now, and it sucks because you just so happen to be on a 9-game losing streak, right? Everything's amplified, and what's unfortunate about all of this is that coming back from not playing basketball in over 2 months, it's gonna be hard for anybody. But it just so happens that he's coming back into hell. He's coming back into a team that is also without Zion and is going through probably the ugliest stress they'll see for the entire season when we look back. The other side of that is people don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear the other side of it. They don't want to hear that you're coming back, that you're rusty, that you're trying to find your spots, that you're trying to find, because people want to win now. And the trade deadline is coming up, and there's a lot of questions. Zion still maybe a few weeks away from returning. And you have some other spots on this roster that's kind of up in the air. But I do want to say at the end of the day, look, man, you lost to the worst team. I'm sorry, the best team in the NBA. And no matter what, we're gonna be watching this team until Brandon figures it out. Whether it's Thursday against Luka, completely puts it all together, or whether it's against the Lakers, or whether it's against Sacramento, eventually it will happen. It's just a matter of how many more times they will lose until we get there, and it's frustrating. I get it. We just, we got to see what happens.
Jarrett, we'll get you back in here. This is the second game in a row now, and I already know what your answer is going to be, but I want you to elaborate a little bit more on it because that's why I'm so upset they took off the back-to-back. He started off really hot in the first quarter. Looked like he was in a good rhythm, facilitating very well, was getting to his spots, hitting jumpers, and then it just goes on a steep decline until about the fourth quarter.
I mean, it's all about conditioning, right? I mean, that's if you're not playing, if you're not used to it. I mean, that happened in the first game he came back. He was 3 for 3. He started off the game 3 for 3, and then he ended the first half 4 of 11. That first game back. So you can't gain a rhythm if you're not dancing. If you're not dancing, then what's the point of you playing? Like, you can't jump in and jump out. This ain't double dutch, bro. This ain't double dutch. So you gotta play. You gotta get in some kind of rhythm for yourself. Even look at Herb, right? Herb was off an injury and he had to get himself back into a point, and hopefully he can sustain this. Maybe he can get in some kind of rhythm. And for some reason, when he plays against Denver, it's his style of game. Like, he always has a good game against Denver. So I just want to shout out Herb on that. But Brandon has to play. And CJ has to play. They all have to play because we can't continue to go on. It can't be after the All-Star break and like, oh, we finally played 10 games together in a row. Like, that's stupid. That's an idiotic thing. And I don't know. Again, this is not saying like, oh, they weren't injured or something like that. But if you're cleared to play now, play regardless of wins and losses. I'd rather see you play in a loss than not play in a win. If that makes sense.
That's why I had such a problem, Chaz, with I'm gonna say it again. I can't believe we're a franchise that punts games. Once again, we've never made a conference finals in franchise history, and we're punting games. We haven't won a division title in over a decade. We're punting games. Like,
I really want to talk about that. I really want to talk about this point. Like, there's value in losing. There is some value in losing when you play, but you have to play to do that, right? To kind of gain, and that even goes back to the Trey Murphy thing. Like, even in losses, I want you to shoot, regardless of what your stats are. Like, I want you to pull at all costs because I think you can get value out of really good, in-game experience, even if it's a loss, like even if it's meaningless in a sense, like, oh, we're getting blown out. All right, pull as much as you want because I think that experience can help you. Just like now, if Brandon and CJ are playing and maybe it's not working, you're getting the kinks out now rather than after All-Star break and the games matter a little bit more. You can work on things now to kind of get into that rhythm. That way, when Zion comes back, y'all be already in some kind of rhythm, and maybe they'll stagger the minutes where it's just Brandon and CJ. But you have to do that now if you're cleared to play. You have to.
Chaz, go ahead.
I'll say this, man.
How you evil, bro?
Nah, I feel like, because I keep saying this, and I hate to feel like I'm beating up on the brother, but the truth is the truth. It's just like boxing. I don't care how good you think you are. You could be 50-0. When you run into, even styles make fights, right? But when you run into the right person, they're going to kick your ass. And they're going to you have to at some point prove who you are. You have to find a way to adjust and overcome. There's been plenty of times where, Brandon might have something going in the first quarter, first half, and he's reverting to that guy you saw early last year. If he don't kill you in the first half, you're safe because he ain't got no legs in the second half. And that makes me question, like, okay, your toes messed up. You couldn't get on the bike. You couldn't. You couldn't do nothing. Like, what kind of athlete? What kind of world athlete are you?
That's hard.
Man. Look, because here's the thing. We can talk about Denver. We can talk about Milwaukee. Well, he didn't play Milwaukee. You got your ass kicked against the Wizards.
He had a day off.
You had a day off, and you had 2 days off before the Wizards. And you got beat by your arch nemesis, Kyle Kuzma. You didn't seem extra motivated. You didn't look like a guy who came out hit 10 straight shots and just ran out of gas. You was kind of okay when you started, and by the time it was over, you just sucked. And the Timberwolves game, you're at home game. You had 2 months off. You know what I'm saying? Chilling. You know, and I think Brandon said this. I only hold Brandon accountable to what he said. He said, I think my advantage would be that I'm less fatigued and I'm well rested and my legs, I got my legs. No, you don't. No, you don't. Your legs aren't there. You weren't ready. You were ill prepared. Like and it makes me question, like, bro, you're not just here knocking down catch and shoot jumpers. What were you working on? Like, what did you do in all this time? What were you doing? CJ at least kind of got an excuse because CJ, he's been consistent, playing very hard on both ends of the ball. I still think this is probably CJ's best defensive year that I've seen for his effort. The result isn't always there, but the effort is always there. But with Brandon, I'm just like, bro, it costs to be the boss. You're not some mid-level exception guy. You get paid the big bucks. You know what I'm saying? People putting you, which I think is blasphemous, people putting you in conversation with Jason Tatum. Like, Jason Tatum, Brandon Ingram. What? You're not, nah. You're a nice, I can't say Jamal Murray after what he let Jamal Murray do to him today. You're a nice, Mikal Bridges type guy. Like, man.
Man. Justin, you got call time.
Hey, speaking of timeouts, Coach Reed did take a good timeout today. Go ahead.
Hey, you being mean and wrong.
No, Chris.
You was comparing brothers to Mccollum Bridges?
That All-Star game was about 3 years ago. And look, guess what happened in the All-Star game? Guess what happened? Chris? Chris, guess what happened? He was hurt. He couldn't even play in the All-Star game. He was hurt.
Can we give him 10 games? We see. Listen. I'm not popping a plea. I want him to play better. But I also understand missing time in anything. Some guys is a week. Other guys can come back and be the same person. I watched Brandon last year have injuries, and he was slowly starting to break that stretch of, he returns back to the floor slow. Like the Spurs game, he missed however many, for the playing game. He missed however much time that was, a week, whatever.
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
Right. He came back, same dude, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, it's tough, man. We wanted to play, but can we give it more time? It's ugly now because every loss feels like 2. But what you want me to say, dog?
Hold on, Justin. I just think to Chad's points, he probably feel like we didn't give him enough time. I mean, time. We really don't.
Time.
Like time. Oh no. Yeah. You ran out of PTO, my brother. This ain't unlimited, my G. Like, I think you.
But not only that. But now
Zion missed a year and some change and came back and didn't look like the same guy out the gate. And we was having shows on this show asking, what's wrong with Zion? Is he? He might not be that guy. I remember having this show. We had it, and then he slowly started to find it again. And then, he's the greatest. Like,
but 2 things, Chris. 2 points to that. Of course, there's still a lot of mystery surrounding Brandon's injury. We kind of know what Zion's injury was, right?
Yeah.
And when Zion has played the majority of his career, he's looked like a generational talent, multi-time MVP candidate potentially, and at minimum, an all-NBA level player. Even if he's not an all-star, at minimum, all-NBA player. Brandon is on year 7 or year 8. Brandon has maybe looked like the number 2 pick or deserving of the number 2 pick maybe once or twice. But I'm looking at his career just in totality. It's like he talks big talk, bro. He talked big talk before the contract. He due for an extension soon. He gonna want his money. I ain't
comparing the players. I'm comparing the time off and the conversations we had about rust because we was on this show and people were saying, "Is he Larry Johnson?" When I'm talking about Zion,
I certainly.
That was a question about is he Larry Johnson? A couple weeks later, it's a completely different story. All I'm saying is it's ugly right now, and everybody's frustrated. But damn, can he have? Oh, can I say that? Oh.
Damn. I mean,
yeah, you could.
Well, it's too late.
Yeah, I see it too.
I mean,
Jarrett made a point. Sorry, Chris. This is Jarrett made a point the other day talking about hanging a banner, right? And what players said, right? And what players said. You're going off what players said.
yeah.
And the problem I have is that if you hold these guys to a standard, to a championship standard, right? Of you can't have 9-game losing streaks, okay?
Or
you
even the standard you set for yourself, or even the standard you set, yeah.
So when you get a little backlash, when you're struggling, it's not. That's why I'm holding you to a championship standard. That's what you said. I didn't say that. You said that. So to all these people that are on Twitter, like get over yourself, okay? Brandon Ingram, since returning, has sucked, okay? And that is like one of my favorite players. He sucks right now. Does that mean he won't turn around? No. I think he will. But guess what? We don't have unlimited time. We're in 10th place. We're in 10th place.
Woo. From first,
that's a far fall.
Hey,
yeah.
And guess what? They're a game out of 13th. Okay, this is so in a West that is gettable. You're talking about an opportunity that never comes around for this franchise. One of the smallest markets, not just the NBA, in all of sport. And you're pissing it away because of a toe contusion and because your best all-world talent has been out for the last 4 weeks. That's why I'm pissed off, because this opportunity doesn't come around a lot. And people need to wake up. Okay. That's why I'm pissed off. Sorry. Rant, Jarrett, whoever wants to go.
I agree, Justin. I mean, I appreciate you for opening your heart, man.
Yeah, I think I had like what was that? I texted you a couple weeks ago, Jared. You're like, I like this kind of justice. Like,
man. This justice is pretty cool, man. You Michaela's there right now. But listen, This window is small, and it shrinks day by day when you don't perform well, and I get it, right? Nine straight losses isn't like there's no excuse for that. Like, especially when you told me before the first game, the first home game, you said your objective was to hang a banner. Like, you said that. I didn't force you to say that. You know, I know there's a lot of guns in New Orleans, but nobody had a gun in your head. Nobody told you to say that. Nobody told, like, you said that. So we're going to say here on this network, yo, you got to be better. Y'all got to stop doing the same old thing over and over again. And we've been very, we've been praising guys when they play well, but we're also going to be very, very critical of guys when they don't play well and don't play up to the standard that they've set, that you've set for yourself. We're just going to talk about it. And a guy like Brandon and a guy like CJ are they're very talented. And not to say that the rest of the roster isn't, but when those guys, when you're on the road, you have a small room for error, you're on national TV, you have to play well. You have to play well. I'm not worried about if Najee Marshall plays well. I'm not worried about if Herb Jones plays well when we were at Denver, in the Mile High City, when you're coming from, New Orleans, where it's you came from Milwaukee, but you came from New Orleans where you're below sea level, but now you're really high in sea. I expect those guys to play worse. I don't expect you to play worse. You're the leaders. When guys
go ahead. People hold Herb to a higher standard than Brandon,
which is wild. I don't think
people hold Herb to a higher standard than Brandon.
We've talked.
People are freaking out right now.
We talked about this before, where when Herb scores a basket, it's a bonus. I don't expect Herb Jones to be scoring 12 to 15 points a game. I do not. I don't. If he does, great. If he doesn't, I didn't expect that anyway. But for Herb, when you compare to Herb to Brandon, Brandon gets, what is it, 115 million, 100 and something, like
something crazy.
Like, yo, I expect you to be very efficient, score a ton of buckets, be great on, and he passed the ball really well tonight, and be that version of yourself, even if you're injured, because great players play when they're injured, and they perform well at the same time.
Chaz, what do you have to say? And I'll go to Chris. What do you have to say about the people saying like we're being too hard on Brandon? He's just coming back from injury. What would you say to that?
I don't think those people watch the game for the same reason. I think those people have different interests in certain players, and those interests don't necessarily revolve basketball. So I think that's why they tend to react that way. I think people are fans of players. They may not necessarily even be fans of the sport, you know what I'm saying, or of the game. Me, I don't care who the player is. If Nigel Marshall go out and score 50 points, I'm gonna say Nigel Marshall, best player on this team, because I care about the front of the jersey. I don't care about the back of the jersey. Sports is transactional. You get paid, I expect a certain result from you. That result comes with fanfare, comes with jersey sales, sneakers, endorsements, or what have you. You know what I'm saying? This is transactional. And if people want to feel better about themselves, I'll say this. Let the Pelicans go to Brandon and say, Brandon, we want you to. Oh, by the way, I got some new merch dropping. Them season derailing tees dropping soon. I'm gonna shoot out the link to y'all. But if people want to feel better about themselves, think about this. If the Pelicans come to Brandon tomorrow and say, "Hey, Brandon, you haven't been playing as well recently. We want to give you, a pay cut." He's not gonna say, "Sure, anything to help the team." No, he gonna want his money. This is business. So when you play well, you're going to get complimented. When you don't play well, you're going to get held accountable by someone, whether be it the front office, the coaching staff, or people who cover the team. And we're just asking for some accountability.
Chris, we've lost 9 in a row. Once again, we talked for a while today. How do you stay positive? Jared, I'll let you go next. How do you stay positive?
I mean, looking ahead, thinking about changes that can possibly be made, upgrades. Want to talk about the schedule down the stretch. I mean, you gotta find certain things. The same way the team won a certain amount of games, 8-7. You gotta hope that eventually, that they're gonna find a way to put it back together. It may not be at a certain level the way they first in the West, but time, man, it's balanced. As always, like when they were first in the West, I never thought that they were gonna win a championship. And now that they are 9-game losing streak, I don't think that they're the worst team in the West. It's balanced as always. They got to figure it out. I have no idea what's going on in the top right hand corner of mine. I don't want to comment on it. Zion will come back. Trades will happen. I mean that's how I look at it.
9 in a row, baby. That's rough.
Unbelievable.
That's rough.
Share back to basketball. There was a moment tonight, and I know you're going to appreciate this. I always tweeted it out, but there was a moment when Larry Nance was left on an island with Jokic, and there was 3.5 minutes left, and he took maybe 10 dribbles, lowered his right shoulder, and just shot a little 3-foot floater and scored, and we call a timeout. And I'm thinking to myself, how in the hell can you put Larry Nance on an MVP, on a 3-time MVP caliber player by himself and not react? How did it happen 2 plays later? Then they double the post. How is that possible? How is that possible? This is Jokic. This isn't. I don't. Go ahead.
I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen this game before. This isn't just a Willie Green led team that's done this. This is a Stan Van Gundy team did the exact same thing too. So this is not uncommon for us to see. I'm just tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing great players not be doubled, especially in late game situations, and maybe make the other players on the court beat us. Not that guy. Not that guy that got a triple double in almost 2 quarters. Let's not give that guy an opportunity to beat us, right? Let's make somebody else beat us. I mean, that guy's been amazing, right? And he's really good. And when I watched him at the Smoothie King Center, I was really impressed. I was like, wow, that might be one of the best players I've ever seen play basketball, in person. But again, back to the coaching thing. Like, we got to be not necessarily just coaching. Like, I thought we had smart basketball players on that team. Just be like, all right, we're just going to double. Like, we got to know that, when Jokic has the ball, he's dribbling 4, 5. When it's the 5th dribble, like, yo, somebody got to go. Like, we can't let Larry Nance just, he played really good defense, but he's not stopping Jokic one-on-one. Let's at least make Jokic get rid of the ball and swing, and kind of hope for the best. We can't allow that one to happen.
That's I got nothing. I mean, I have nothing else. I mean, Chaz, Chris, you want
to trade deadline rapidly approaching. Pels have lost all leverage, baby. All leverage. So now, and this is a seller's market, Sometimes it's not always bad to zig while everyone else is zagging. Maybe they should consider selling. Could get a hell of a bounty. This is a seller's market. I'm not saying they should do that, but what I am saying is that, hey, business is business. I'm not saying who they should sell, but it's a seller's market, and I'm sure some of the older guys on this team didn't sign up for this. And you got to imagine they're pretty frustrated.
Chris? I can't wait for the post-game conversation. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Pelicans have lost 9 in a row. Play Dallas on the road, then have a back-to-back against the Lakers and the Kings. Presented by Company Burger.
That's going to suck.
4600 Ferret Street, DraftKings Sportsbook, and the Birdsall Law Firm. We'll catch y'all Thursday night.